Hi, everyone. I'm Emma Mitchell, and I'm an energy healing guide and a psychic medium. Today, I'm going to do a solo episode for you relating to three recent clearings, a house clearing, a coaching session I did with somebody, and also a Reiki session. So, just to start out, I've had some sort of illness for the last 2 weeks, and it's still going strong for some reason. So, my voice doesn't sound great. So, please bear with me in my nasally sickness voice. So, the first story I wanted to tell you is about a house clearing that I did a couple weeks ago for someone. So this was a remote clearing, meaning that I never even set foot in her home. So this person, she has a condo, and she wanted me to do this clearing because she had said that there was somebody who had been spending a lot of time in her home and was is not part of her life anymore. And she wanted to get rid of this negative energy that was in the home because of what she thought because of this person. So, what I always do when I start a house clearing off is I'll give the person a quote. So, what I do is I psychically walk through the home. Like I said, I've never even been in her home, didn't even see pictures, but I was able to psychically walk through the house or through the condo and see what was in there. And then I let her know, I'm seeing these different things. This is the amount of time it's going to take. This is how much it's going to cost. And I always leave them an audio message. And she said, wow, this is like spot on with some of the things that you're sensing in these different areas. So she had me do the clearing and it was long distance. So when I did the clearing, there were a lot of things that I found that were definitely interesting and new or to me. So one thing that I found was this, I get, and I hate to say this word, but I guess he was like a demonic spirit, and he was very, how do I say, kind of like full. In that, a lot of times when I see spirits, I see them as kind of wispy or not very strong. This spirit looked like a man, but he had like whitish, bluish eyes and was very powerful, and I could feel that coming off of him. I was able to work with my angels and guides and some archangels to help me clear him out of that space. But the energy that was coming off of him was pretty terrifying, and he was right there in the living room. And actually, when I told this person about this thing, they were able to do some research and said, this is actually a demonic spirit, and, this is what this is. But all I could sense was that it was just really powerful and strong. So then I also was able to discover another weird thing. In another bedroom in the closet, there was this frog demon spirit. And I was not scared of this spirit, but it was gross. It appeared to me like really goopy and was just exuding. If you think of a frog and like think of like Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars. That was kind of the vibe, the energy that was coming off of this spirit or demonic thing, that it was just exuding lots of gross energy and making the energy of this room very unlivable, I guess, to say the least. Was able to move that spirit out as well. But one of the more interesting things that I found was that there were so many ghosts in the hallway. And when I'm saying so many, I'm saying like 50, 100, just an obscene amount of spirits. So when I was clearing out these spirits, what I noticed was there was something that was almost like a portal, like allowing them to come into this space. And like I said, this was a condo, so it's not a large space. So to have that many spirits, that many ghosts was ridiculous. It felt like if you're ever in like a crowded train station or crowded airport, That's what it felt like, trying to sift, like move through people. And these were all in this hallway area. So there would seem to be some sort of doorway or something that was allowing these spirits to come in. Now, I have experienced this a couple times in the past, most um, prominently in my own home. I have this picture that I took in South Carolina of it's like a church, and it's just the doorway, and it's just a really architecturally unique, historical looking doorway. So I took this picture when I was doing a house clearing for my own home several months ago. I realized there were all these ghosts that were clustered around this picture. And I say this, you're probably wondering, well, how did you not know that this was happening in your own house? I have to put myself into this state of seeing or sensing spirits. Thank goodness, really, because I don't want to walk around my entire life seeing or sensing, spirits in every place. So I have to kind of like shift my perception a little bit. And that's when I'm able to do these clearings or sense if something is in a space. So when I noticed this in my own home, I had to close up this doorway that was, I guess, coming through this picture, allowing these ghosts to come through South Carolina into my home. So when I saw this for this person's condo, I was like, yeah, that actually makes sense, but it is very weird. Well, come to find out, she messaged me a couple days later that she has a picture of a train station in her home, and it's a painting. And she said, Emma, is this what is happening? Like, is this what is causing these spirits to come in to my home through this picture? And I said, you know what? I believe it is. So I was able to close that up for her. I put up this like brick wall pretty much on the painting, closing up that door. I had also told her before I'd done that, do your prayers, ask angels to, help you close that up. But I just wanted to be sure, and I closed it up for her. So those were some really interesting ones that were different from things that I normally see in a house clearing. And frankly, I'm always seeing different things when I do house clearings, but those were definitely unique instances. After that clearing, I will say the owner told me that she felt so much better in her home and she's able to clean it up the way that she wants to, kind of like reclaiming her space is what she's telling me after this person has left. So she's really excited and she feels a lot more peaceful in the house because before that she felt like it's really negative. I don't really want to be here. It doesn't feel like my space. So it's really cool to hear those success stories. So the next story I wanted to tell you was about a recent Reiki session I did for somebody, and I really relate to this in my own life. Several years ago, I personally found tears always coming up for the most random of reasons. And I would be emotional about nothing. Like I would see a commercial and I'd start crying. Or I felt like I was, just really anxious in my body, really like twitchy, I guess, and like I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. It wasn't until I started doing my own work, like the energy clearings, going to a therapist and diving into the psychic stuff, that I started feeling bitter about my life, stopped having these emotional issues like I was having, and understanding who I was as a person. Because before that, I had been pushing down my emotions, pushing everything down, suppressing who I really was on the inside. Now, I'm telling you all of this as a foreshadowing to this Reiki session I did recently. This person came to me for Reiki because she told me she was feeling very on edge and anxious. She was having these like just extra emotions about everything, like every little thing. and just wasn't feeling comfortable in her body. And she didn't know what was wrong. The bigger thing that stuck out to me, besides all that, was that she said a lot of people were telling her, something seems up with you, something seems off. What's going on with you? And she was like, I don't know. Like, I don't feel like I'm showing up the way that people are, perceiving me right now. And that really resonated with me because of the things that I went through in my past. So, when I did the Reiki session for her, I, of course, talked to her spirit guides first because that is an option when you do Reiki with me. And the information that they gave me was really great. I thought, well, for sure, she's operating out of alignment with her purpose. Maybe she's in a relationship that's not working or a job that's not working or something like that. And her spirit guides were like, actually, no. Those things are all great for her, but the thing that she really needs to do right now is this craft experience. Like she's been pushing down this creative activity in her life that, her heart desires to do. And she needs to start doing that because it might lead to maybe more money, like selling it on the side, but also just in general happiness for her. So that was really interesting. And when I told her that, she was shocked. She said, "Oh my gosh, how did you know it was a specific activity that I told her?" And she was like, "Actually, yeah, I've been wanting to do that. I have all the stuff to do it, but I keep putting it off. I keep not working on it." And I told her, this seems to be very important for you, and in that it is aligned with your purpose, at least for right now. It might not be like the whole purpose, but it's just a part of her that she's suppressing. So that was really cool that we were able to come to that conclusion so easily for her. But the other part of this, the Reiki session that really aligned with my past too, was that I could tell just based on, speaking with her different chakras, seeing what was going on, when I was doing the clearing, was that she has been suppressing her true self, trying to almost like contort was the word that I heard, contort into a person that she wants other people to like her for. So instead of showing up as who she truly is, she's trying to, people please. And I don't want to use the word chameleon because I don't think she's a chameleon, but you know what I'm saying. Like sometimes people show up as a different person based on what they think people want from them. Certainly, when I was doing that in the past, I did feel like I don't want anybody to know me. I'm embarrassed of my hobbies or my skills, such as Reiki, such as being a psychic medium. Like, I didn't want to tell anybody that I did this stuff because I was terrified of people rejecting me or judging me. Obviously, now I'm very good at talking about this stuff, but I can really relate to that because it is scary to show your true colors to people. It is scary to really open up. And so when when her emotions, when her edgy, being on edge, anxiety is showing up in her normal daily life, I can see why, because it's almost like being an actor or actress every day, not wanting people to see you becomes really difficult. It really doesn't allow for real connection, and your body starts almost rejecting itself. Like there's this part of you that nobody sees, and then there's this part of you that everybody sees, and it doesn't match up. So telling you this because I do feel that most of us do it in one way or another. Some of us do it more so. And I think that when we're really not aligned with who we truly are, our emotions, our anxieties, our disconnection with others, or feeling like we can't have anybody close to us really does come out because of those fears. My suggestion to her and to you as well is to really start to learn how to trust yourself more. And I do have some inner authority, higher self techniques that I do teach my clients. Reach out for that, or I might link it in this video. or the audio here. So you can see that once you really start learning how to trust yourself and what you truly want, it becomes easier to stop being the person that you think other people want you to be. Okay, so the last story I want to tell you is about a clairvoyant coaching session I did with somebody recently. Now, when I say clairvoyant coaching, this kind of encompasses a lot, but the point of these sessions is to not only meet your spirit guides or connect with past, like loved ones from your past that have gone to the other side. But also, we're doing a lot of energy healing techniques through these sessions. So, we do past life regressions, we do generational contract clearing, and even clearing up karmic things, or sometimes there's curses and stuff like that, but that's for another story. So, this session I did with somebody was related to her feeling like she wasn't going to be successful, that she had some self-worth stuff coming up, and some concerns about this new career that she's taken on. So, we booked a session, and I had a feeling that it was a generational contract that we needed to clear up. Sometimes my psychic sense doesn't actually align with what our spirit guides want us to do, but this time it did. So as I was guiding her through this session, her instead of a spirit guide showing up, it was actually her father who had passed away a while ago. And she had a conversation with him, of course, on the other side. And I said, let's ask him, does he want to help you to clear up some generational things today? And he said, yes, he definitely did, because the stuff we were clearing up was on his side of the family. Well, what ended up happening was her grandmother, this person's grandmother, came through, her father's mother. And apparently, she wasn't the nicest of people, and she really put these mindsets in her loved ones, or passed down these feelings of not enoughness, failure, everybody's judging, not wanting people to get close to her, um, or, to the people now in this lifetime. So this was really causing a lot of issues for this person, for my client. So the most interesting thing about this session and why I'm bringing it up is none of this is normal for a normal session. Like usually when we do past life stuff, a guide will take you to a life, a past life, or will take you into the lifetime of this ancestor, will show you the trauma, will release it, will move through it. This time, this client's deceased father, deceased grandmother, were having a conversation with her, and her dad called out her grandma for her behavior. And this client was, she was relaying everything that was happening. I'm just sitting there on the other side guiding her when she needed it. And her father called her grandmother, or his mother, some choice words, and said, we're done. We're not doing this anymore with you. We're living differently now. So the more interesting thing was she was able to see her grandmother for who she was, why she felt the way that she had felt her whole life, why she had behaved the way she had. And it rings true to what I always believe is people who are maybe the most mean or judgmental or angry are so hurt on the inside. And that's what she saw for her grandmother. She saw her heart, she saw, who she was, but she also saw why she was behaving this way her whole life. So she was able to help her grandmother release all these things, which in turn released through the generations, through, my client, through her father, through her sisters, and other family members, even her son, I'm sure. And she also saw her grandmother turn into a flower. So she was able to give her that closure on the other side. It was really beautiful to be able to see this and to help her release this old stuff that has obviously been transferred through the generational line. Now, when I was watching her and even afterwards, I saw she was lighter. She told me she felt better. It was like a big weight came off of her shoulders, and she left the session knowing she has a great trajectory to move into this career path and is really proud and excited of what's to come. Now, I haven't checked in with her since that session, so I'll keep you posted, but I know based on, what happened in that session, and then additionally a bunch of her other family members family members who had passed away came through too and had some really amazing words for her of love and support. I know that she is supported on her path and she's on the right path. So I've been doing these kinds of generational clearings for myself for a few years now. And, of course, walking other people through it. But I have seen such changes in my own family members who are living, but also on in my family members on the other side. So just an example, my grandmother, when she first came to me, when I was 14 in dreams and just through all sorts of different means. She represented like my grandmother. But once I started doing the psychic work and was able to connect with her in a different way, her energy was really erratic and it didn't feel very solid and stable. But as I started doing these clearings, I noticed her energy became really more solid, more light, and I know I've just seen it just even in her demeanor on the other side when she interacts with me. It's different because I've released so much in her family line. But I've also seen major changes in my mom, in my dad, in obviously in myself. That's why I keep doing these things. My relationships with my family members have gotten better, and I know that this stuff works. So it's really amazing to be able to walk other people through this as well. But it really does help with releasing obstacles and helping to let go of some of these things that are holding you back as far as mindset that you may not even be realizing are associated with a loved one from the past. I'll tell you a very quick story to wrap this up, this bonus story. I did a generational clearing for somebody the other day, but I didn't, this person, he doesn't have like the psychic ability that I do or that most of my clients do. So I offered to clear this for him, and he was having a lot of insomnia issues for the last 3, 4 weeks. So I offered to do a generational clearing for him. He gave me permission. I was able to work with his spirit guides to go back in time, find this ancestor who was on, I guess, a long-term camping trip or maybe permanently living outside. I didn't really get the information on that, but they were camping and a mountain lion was stalking them. And this ancestor, he said, I vow to be diligent, to always be a protector, to always be alert, which causes the sleep issues. And this person that I did the clearing for, his father has the same issues with insomnia. So after I was able to clear that, work with this ancestor in this timeline to clear that stuff up, clear up that contract, the person I did this clearing for, he was able to sleep 8, 9 hours that night, deep sleep, no issues, fell right asleep. Then the next night too, he was able to go into a deep sleep and sleep. It was really amazing, and I'm excited to see how this sticks. But obviously, a success because his insomnia was really bad before that. So that concludes these stories for the recent clearings. If you would like to be on one of these episodes and tell your own stories about spirits, angels, ghosts, please reach out. I'm always looking for new people to have on here. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.